If everybody would make their way to a seat, please. Good morning. Isn't it fantastic to have all these young folks with us this morning? We're so thrilled to have you all here this morning, and the parents and the coaches and so forth. I also want to recognize Mayor Pat Bates is here from the city of Altamont Springs, and City Manager Frank Martz are also with us today. So thank you all for joining and supporting your little league. Fantastic stuff. We're going to start today's meeting, which is September 23, 2025, by having our cell phones silenced and any other electronic devices you may have. If you take a moment, check those, make sure they're in silent mode. We'd appreciate that very much. Our invocation this morning will be done by Pastor Bob Melhorn from Integrity Church, so if you would all stand, please. And I would ask Commissioner Lockhart to lead us in the pledge.
Good morning, everyone. Let's pray. Creator God, on this day when our Jewish brothers and sisters move into their high holy days, we accept this as a gift. All of us do. The gift of precious time. Another day to enjoy your creation. Another day to grow and become the people you made us to be. Another day to serve our neighbor. We thank you deeply. We thank you for the energy in this room, for all these young athletes, and we thank you for raising up coaches and leaders to guide them. We ask your blessing upon all these families. Father, we would pray that the time we spend today would produce results that are pleasing to you. We ask your blessing upon our commissioners, upon our county manager, our county attorney, upon all who work for Seminole County. We ask your protection for all those who keep us safe, and we pray for all who make Seminole County their home. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Lockhart. Thank you, Pastor Melhorn. All right, well, we're going to move to our proclamations this morning and our resolutions. This will be for several of our youth sports teams here in the county, with Altamont Baseball, Lake Mary Little League, and Sanford Babe Ruth League. I've asked each district commissioner that is the district commissioner for those individual districts and those cities belong in to read those proclamations. So we'll start with Altamont Baseball. Commissioner Constantine.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Zimbauer, and I just wanted to say that I am so very proud of each and every one of the youth baseball programs that are here today. This is not a new phenomenon, as you all know. You all have had a series of successes over the last number of years. But just if I can speak to you about a little bit of history, this all started back in the mid-'80s when Altamont Springs went to the Little League World Series and played for the first time for any team from Central Florida. So we in Seminole County, from each and every one of you, you have made this the epicenter of youth baseball in the United States and the world. And I am very, very proud of all of you, but just as proud of your coaches and your parents who have sacrificed so much to ensure that you all would be successes. So I am very honored to today propose this resolution and motion of this resolution by the Board of County Commissioners recognizing the Altamont Baseball Academy 8 under and 9 under all-star teams and district champions and the 12 under all-star team as the 2025 Cal Ripken 12 and under National World Series champions. Whereas Whereas the city of Altamont Springs has always had a long-standing tradition of providing baseball opportunities to children throughout Seminole County. And whereas Altamont Springs joined the Babe Ruth Baseball Association in 1994 and then established the Altamont Baseball Academy in 2015 to provide greater opportunities for children to focus on the core principles of baseball fundamentals and player development, and currently provides baseball programs to over 1,500 kids each year. And whereas the Altamont Baseball Academy 8-under boys all-star baseball team proudly represented the city of Altamont Springs, Seminole County, and District 11 at the district championships and won the district championship. The team won all 4 games, scored 63 runs, gave up only 17 for a plus 30 run differential. And whereas the Altamont Baseball Academy 9-under all-star baseball team proudly represented the city of Altamont Springs, Seminole County, and District 11 at the district championships and won the district championship. The team won all 4 games, scored 40 runs, and gave up only 10 runs for a 46% differential. And whereas the Altamont Baseball Academy 12-under all-star team proudly represented the city of Altamont Springs, Seminole County, and District 11 at the 2025 Cal Ripken World Series. And whereas Altamont Babe Ruth 12-under all-star team went all the way to become the national champions of the United States. This is the 4th consecutive World Series this team has participated in, winning 2 out of the last 4 years. The team has an incredible run with 6 wins, 1 loss, 56 runs scored, only 19 runs allowed for a 37-run differential, and earned the crown of the 2025 Cal Ripken World Series U.S. champions, and was the best team in the United States and the second best team in the world. And whereas the youth athletes and coaches of the Altamont Baseball Academy 8-under boys, 9-under, and 12-under all-star team, through their unwavering dedication, exceptional teamwork, and relentless perseverance, have become hometown heroes for the city of Altamont Springs and Seminole County, setting an inspiring example of commitment and passion for the entire community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the Board of County Commissioners of Seminole County, Florida, do hereby congratulate the Altamont Baseball Academy 8-under, 9-under, and 12-under all-star teams for their historic accomplishment and tremendous achievement this past season.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Constantine. And what we're going to do, folks, as we finish these proclamations or resolutions, we'll get a photograph opportunity as soon as the last one's read, so be patient with us. Next one up is going to be...
Call the vote.
Did I get a second?
You did. You
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Seeing none, carries unanimous. Thank you.
It was hard to hear over all the claps.
Yeah, all the
Yes. Commissioner Lockhart
love.
Yeah,
for the
that's
Lake
right.
Mary Little League.
That's right. Thank you, Commissioners. I would like to move the following resolution of the Seminole County Board of County Commissioners recognizing the Lake Mary Little League 2025 12U All-Star Softball Team and the 12U All-Star Baseball Team. Whereas Lake Mary Little League, which was established in 1992, has been providing baseball and softball opportunities to children throughout Seminole County. Whereas the Lake Mary Little League 12U softball team, with an impressive 16-3 record, proudly represented the city of Lake Mary, Seminole County, and District 19, and competed in and won the district championship, the state championship, and the Southeast Regional Championship. And whereas the Lake Mary Little League 12U softball team made history with its first ever appearance and the first Florida team in 30 years to reach the Little League Softball World Series, where they showed exceptional performance and finished in 3rd place after a 3-1 loss to the eventual champion, Tulsa, Oklahoma, in the quarterfinals. And whereas the Lake Mary Little League 12U baseball team, with a 12-1 record, proudly represented the city of Lake Mary, Seminole County, and District 19, and competed in and won the district championship and the state championship. And whereas the Little League 12U baseball team proudly represented the city of Lake Mary, Seminole County, and the North Florida District at the 2025 Little League Southeast Regional Tournament, where they finished in second place. And whereas the young athletes and coaches of the Lake Mary Little League softball and baseball all-star teams, through their unwavering dedication, exceptional teamwork, and relentless perseverance, have become hometown heroes for the city of Lake Mary and Seminole County, setting an inspiring example of commitment and passion for the entire community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the Board of County Commissioners of Seminole County, Florida, do hereby congratulate Lake Mary Little League and the 12U All-Star Softball and Baseball teams for their historic accomplishment and tremendous achievement this past season. Adopted this 23rd day of September, 2025.
Second.
Motion second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Carries unanimous. Congratulations. Next up, as we work our way around the county, will be Sanford's Babe Ruth League, and this will be read by District Commissioner Herr.
We couldn't be prouder of all of you representing our community well. Commissioners, I offer the following resolution of the Seminole County Board of County Commissioners recognizing the Sanford Babe Ruth League 2025 8 and Under All-Star Team and the 12 and Under All-Star Team. Whereas the City of Sanford and the Sanford Babe Ruth League have always had a long-standing tradition of providing baseball opportunities to approximately 900 kids each year throughout Seminole County. And whereas the Babe Ruth All-Stars 8U baseball team proudly represented the City of Sanford, Seminole County, and District 4 at the state championship tournament held in Lake City, Florida, and competed in and won the Northern Florida District 4 tournament at New Smyrna Beach, Florida, going 4-0 during the tournament. And whereas the Sanford Babe Ruth 8 and Under All-Stars received an invitation to play in the World Series in Ocala, Florida, where they showed exceptional performance in pool play and made it to the tournament finals, where they lost in a close game, 6-4, to the champions from Aruba. Whereas the Sanford Babe Ruth All-Stars 12 and Under baseball team competed in and won the Northern Florida District 4 tournament, sending them to the state championship held in Jacksonville, Florida, where the team won their first Babe Ruth state championship and finished the season with an 8-4 record. And whereas the Sanford Baseball All-Stars 12 and Under team proudly represented Sanford, Seminole County, and North Florida District at the Babe Ruth Southeast Regional Tournament, where they finished in third place in the Southeast region, with wins against teams from South Carolina and North Carolina, and finished the season with an 11-3 final record. And whereas the young athletes and coaches of the Sanford Babe Ruth 8U and 12U All-Star teams, through their unwavering dedication, exceptional teamwork, and relentless perseverance, have become hometown heroes for the City of Sanford and Seminole County, setting an inspiring example of commitment and passion for the entire community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the Board of County Commissioners of Seminole County, Florida, do hereby congratulate the Sanford Babe Ruth League's 8 and Under, 12 and Under All-Star teams and their parents for their historic accomplishments and tremendous achievement this past season. 2025 Babe Ruth 8 and Under All-Star Team Babe Ruth World Series runner-up, and the 2025 Sanford Babe Ruth 12 and Under All-Star Team Babe Ruth State Champions. Adopted this 23rd day of September 2025.
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Carries unanimous. Congratulations. I'm going to ask Mr. Danny Trossett to come down, and we'll get organized photos ready for everybody to take. So we're going to take a short photo op break to get everybody's photos with their parents, coaches, and the commission, and those that want to be in the photo. Mr. Trossett?
All right, thank you, Commissioners. And again, thank you to all the teams, parents, coaches for being here today. We really, really appreciate it. The first photo, we'll have the 8U B team from Altamont Baseball Academy. The 8U team, if you can come down for a photo. All right, thank you guys so much. Let's get another round of applause for the AU team. Okay, next, can we have the 9U All-Star team from Altamont? The 9U team, come on down for a picture. All right, thank you, 9U team. Let's give a big round of applause. And then if we could have the 12U National World Series Champions team to come on down. All right, let's give another big round of applause to the National World Series champions from Altamont. Okay, if I can have the 12U All-Star softball team from Lake Mary come on down. All right, let's give a big round of applause for the Lake Mary All-Star softball team. Congratulations, ladies. And if we can have the 12U Lake Mary All-Star baseball team, come on down for a picture. Congratulations again, Lake Mary Baseball Team 12U. All right, if we can have the Sanford 8U All-Star Team. Sanford 8U All-Star Team, come on down. All right, let's give a big round of applause for the Sanford 8U All-Star Team. Congratulations, guys. And if we could have the Sanford 12U All-Star Team. 12U All-Star Team. Congratulations again to all of our incredible teams on your outstanding accomplishment. Thank you all so much again for coming this morning.
Folks, somebody's left a set of keys to a Chrysler Dodge Plymouth product. Set of keys were found.
They'll be back, Gil.
They'll be back.
Take them out. There's probably a gate up there.
That was fun.
They're not going too far.
Yeah, they're not going too far, that's right.
Listen, the kids are going to be as slow as they can to get back to school.
I was going to invite them to stay the rest of the meeting.
Wait them to come back.
Correct. Well, while they're leaving the chambers, I think we all would agree that it's great to see our young people, achieving these great accomplishments here in our community, and that's really something we all are very proud of, and it's these human interest stories that we so relish here in Seminole County, and supporting our youth through our school systems and each and every city out there that have these programs to help our young folks. And of course, the parents and the coaches that, they have to uproot their entire lives a lot of times for these baseball teams and travel teams, that they spend a lot of their own money. They have to raise their own money to get these children to go to these out-of-town meets and so forth. It speaks volumes of our community. So thank you all again for being here to help us celebrate that. Next up, we're going to go to our investment advisor report. Mr. McIntyre, welcome.
Hey, Grant. Good morning. Good to see everybody.
Morning.
Okay, where are we?
Seminole County.
Besides that, got that.
There's as much noise in your industry right now as there was just a minute ago in here.
It goes without saying. It continues to be turbulent, continues to be uncertain. The labor market continues to weaken. Not sure if that's going to necessarily continue into next month, sort of looking at the fact that third quarter is not slowing. Of course, we've talked about a slowdown coming for a long time. Talked about recession coming for a long time. It doesn't look like it's on the horizon. Third quarter seems to be stronger than the second quarter was. Inflation continues to trend gradually higher, and that's sort of the key. It's not moving nearly in the leaps and bounds that people anticipated. Some feel like when we move into the fourth quarter, we'll see goods inflation, which would be related to all the purchasing we do in the quarter. The Fed ended its pause. They've been on pause since December. They lowered rates last week by a quarter. The question is, how much more do they do it? They expect they're going to lower it twice more this year. That's really a coin flip, to be honest with you. Of the 19 members that are on the FOMC, you had 6 of them that don't believe that there should be any more cuts this year. There were a handful, only 8 of the 19 thought there would be 2. So it's very, very spread out. And I think that a lot of that has to do with what the numbers are actually going to do, how things are going to come in. This is, it's amazing how quickly these things get dated. The September survey doesn't come out until this week, so this is August. Take it with a grain of salt. I think there's always a little bit of pessimism with the economists, so they expected that third quarter growth was going to be at 1.1%. It's trending above 2. That generally means more hiring in the fourth quarter ahead, so we'll see if that happens. I would expect that going into the season, there typically is more seasonal hiring. So these economists believe that the Fed will also cut twice this year. I think the only one that's really baked in is the just before Halloween rate cut. We expect that'll be another quarter. And then December really would depend on what the numbers look like. A little delay there. Sorry about that. Okay. That is, I try to show you the 2-year Treasury note yield over the course of the last year. So you can sort of see, if you look on the right-hand side, that we're nearly the lowest that we've been in quite some time for the 2-year. The other day it got below 350. Fortunately, and I've said this before, but most of the purchases that are out on the deeper in the portfolio with longer maturities were made in January and December. So at a fortuitous time, and yields have moved down since then. This might need new batteries or a stronger thumb. Oh, thank you very much. This, as has been the case, I've tried to show you going back 4 meetings, what yields have done. I think the thing to focus on is treasuries in like the 24 to 36-month range. And I can't see that all that well, but I think that left-hand side is above 4%, and now we're closer to 355. Kind of been a long time in coming, I think, but I do believe that the idea of rates moving lower is not as concrete as it was as we roll forward, but certainly they'll gradually move lower as the Fed cuts. Okay, so upcoming maturities, there are a couple more this month, and those are the ones that we've talked to the clerk's office quite a bit about cash flows. You're in a drain period, you're still in a drain period, monies are positioned to pay your expenses. For the most part, those expenses have been paid. You've got ample liquidity at this point as we roll forward. According to cash flows, the clerk's office feels like we can reinvest both of those maturities at the end of this month. The best spot to position those is going to be in next summer, so not going out quite as far, but the expenses this summer were a little bit higher than I had thought they would be. So we're positioning more monies in the summer months next year to be able to account for that. So it's fairly basic. There's been a long period of time where there's been some reinvestments, but mostly the monies that have maturing proceeds have been used to pay expenses. This is going to end for the most part, and there's going to be some opportunities to reinvest, and that's essentially what we're asking for here. Things to look at, of course, the 2-year at 355, sort of keep that in mind. The portfolio was yielding at the end of August a 433. With the reinvestments and the maturities, we expect that we will still be right at 430 by the end of September. And, for the most part, the portfolio, because there's so much that is locked in, the portfolio is, as the Fed cuts, should perform well, relatively speaking, for what that's worth. And there's your, I think that's going to wind up, the portfolio yield should separate itself from those Treasury benchmarks as we roll forward. So, and I was asking you for a motion because I tripped over it, but are there any questions?
Yes, any inquiries to the investment advisor?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to implement the recommendations of our financial advisor based on the report submitted today, and recommend the clerk implement said board's recommendations.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Like sign. Hearing none, carries unanimous. Thank you, Mr. McIntyre, and good luck on your adventure on the daily tracking all this. You're earning your keep now.
Feels like it. I'm in front of a lot of governing bodies, more so than before.
I'm sure.
I appreciate it. Thank you all.
Thank you. All right, next up is going to be our consent agenda. I'm going to ask the county attorney, Ms. Kate Latour, to read the rules of public participation. Ms. Latour?
Thank you, Chairman. Good morning. Florida law provides that members of the public shall be given a reasonable opportunity to be heard on propositions before the Board of County Commissioners, except when the board is acting on emergency or ministerial matters or conducting a meeting exempt from the requirements of the Sunshine Law. Individuals shall be permitted 3 minutes each for public comment, or 6 minutes when the individual is an official representative of a formal association or group. The chairman may modify the maximum time for public comment at his sole discretion when appropriate. Public comments on quasi-judicial or other public hearing items, including the second budget public hearing scheduled for later this afternoon, will occur during the board's consideration of those items. Public comments on pending procurement matters or on non-agenda items shall not be permitted at this time. Members of the public desiring to make public comment must fill out a speaker form and present the form to staff, and forms are available in the lobby. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Ms. Latour. And we're going to remind if there's anybody here to speak on items 3 through 18, you'll need a speaker's form, which you can get in the lobby, bring it up front, hand it to the clerk right here, and we'll make sure that you get your moment to speak to us about those items. I will go to the county manager. Do you have any updates, deletions, additions to the consent agenda?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. No changes to the consent agenda this morning.
Very good. Any commissioner desire to pull a separate item for consideration? Seeing none, then I will look for motions for 3 through 18, including 3 and 4, which is constitutional officers.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner?
I will move the consent items 3 and 4 from the constitutional officers, and items 5 through 18, which are the county manager consent agenda items.
Second.
Motion is second. We have anybody here from the public who wants to speak on this?
No, sir.
So make sure we get the record. We'll close the public input. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, like sign. Seeing none, carries unanimously. We're going to take a short break because we have a photo request on the consent agenda, so we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll come back to our regular agenda. Commissioners, if you'll join me on the floor. So quiet in here.
Don't have 100 kids.
I remember back to those days when we had so much energy like that. I'm sure my parents are glad I'm out of that stage. All right, next up, we are going to go to our regular agenda. We are going to have reduction of lien request, consideration of applicant. This will be presented by John Martin, Code Enforcement Division Manager. Mr. Martin?
Good morning. How is everyone this morning?
Wonderful.
Wonderful. Got a lot going on this morning, but we're ready to proceed forward if you are.
Please, the floor is yours.
All right, Development Services, regular agenda item. Do you click these or do I? Up to me. Okay. Property in question is 1208 Helen Street, located in the unincorporated Seminole County section of Apopka. This is a request for reconsideration or reduction of liens. There were 2 code enforcement violations on this property: uncultivated vegetation and rubbish. 2 county code enforcement liens totaling $195,104.40. The applicant has made a request to reduce the liens to $2,500 or the administrative cost of $1,204.40. The previous owners had brought the property into compliance for one of the violations, and the applicant is further continuing to work on this property to avoid any further violations. Lien number 1 summary is for case number 19-112-CEB. The violation was originally cited for uncultivated vegetation of January 2019. On July 25th, 2019, the CEB issued, and that's Code Enforcement Board, I apologize, issued the findings and facts, conclusions of law and order requiring compliance by August 9th, 2019, or a daily fine of $50 per day may be imposed. On October 24th, 2019, at the compliance hearing, the CEB issued an order finding compliance and imposing a fine and lien ordering the fine amount of $3,700 for a total of 74 days of noncompliance be reduced to the administrative cost of $389.64 if paid for by November 23rd, 2019, or the original lien amount would revert back to $3,700. As the reduced fine was not paid, lien number 1 now totals $4364.57. Case number 2, lien number 2, summary for case number 19-113-CEB. The violation was for rubbish on January 2019. On July 25th, 2019, the Code Enforcement Board issued a findings and facts conclusion of law and order requiring compliance by August 9th, 2019, or a daily fine of $100 per day may be imposed. On October 24, 19, compliance hearing, the Code Enforcement Board issued an order finding noncompliance, imposing a fine or lien of $7,600 for a total of 76 days of noncompliance, which will continue to accrue at $100 per day until brought into compliance. The affidavit of compliance states of the violation was rectified as of October 24, 2024. Lien number 2 totals $190,739.83. The property financial summary here you can see is for 1208 Helen Street. It was sold to Ocala LLC via a quitclaim deed. The assessed value of the property is noted as $165,212. Lien numbers 1 and lien numbers 2 together combined is $195,104.40. The review criteria, the deputy county manager determined that this request did not fail the threshold of the SCC criteria. The following was evaluated: the amount of the lien compared to the value of the property, the amount of the liens recorded on the 2024 assessed value of the property, the actions taken or not taken by the property owners in attempt to abate the violation. For case number 19-112, the violation of uncultivated vegetation was corrected by the prior owner on the day of the lien hearing. The property was in violation for 2.5 months. For case number 19-113 CEB, the violation of rubbish continued for 5 years. The violation was removed from the property by the prior owners as of October 24, 2024. The amount of time expended on this project, the non-compliance period spanned an approximate 5 years with a collective 29.75 hours of staff time. Request for reduced amount. The applicant requests that the board make an exception to its established guidelines and reduce the total amount secured by the liens of $195,104.40 to $2,500 or to the total administrative cost of $1,204.40. The applicant requests that the board additionally consider the following: that the community improvement. The applicant stated that when he purchased the property, it was in extremely poor hazardous conditions. Reporting conditions of the property pose a serious threat and risk to the surrounding community. He states that he has fully remedied the property interior and removed all animal waste. The administrative cost, he is not requesting a reduction of this waiver of administrative cost. Applicant states that given a substantial cleanup and repair cost he's personally undertaking, that they would like the board's consideration for removing the accrued fees. So the application's request is to reduce the final determination of the applicant's request of a reduction to the code enforcement liens, a total administrative cost of $1,204.40. And should the liens be reduced, authorize the chairman to execute a satisfaction of lien upon payment of the approved amounts, if any. And that concludes this presentation. Is there any questions?
Thank you, John. Commissioner Lockhart.
I know there was a minor typo in the summary that kind of caused me a little confusion having to do with whether or not the property was brought into compliance by the previous or the current property owner. But now so I checked that box in my brain. But now I'm curious, if the property was brought into compliance prior to this property owner purchasing it, what additional substantial cleanup and repair costs have they personally undertaken if it was already brought into compliance?
The statement may be a little misleading in of the fact that at the time that the compliance was being obtained, though the applicant was working on the property and he was in the process of taking possession of it, he had also been submitting to have the fines reduced. He wasn't the legal owner at the time. The legal owner was Miguel Leon. The Ocala LLC property did not have proper title, therefore was not allowed to make the request, and they continued to work towards gaining compliance. Once they gained in compliance and we got their legal paperwork straightened out, he then applied, the applicant applied. So to say at the time that the owner gained compliance is referring to this owner, Ocala LLC, not the prior owner, Miguel Leon. Mr. Leon is hospitalized. He's not able to do this work.
Okay, understood. Thank you for that clarification.
Absolutely.
Any other inquiries? Is the applicant here and desire to make any presentation to the board? And if so, please come forward.
I'm here, but no need to add.
Okay. And is there anyone here from the public that desires to speak on this?
No, sir.
Okay, we'll close any public input. This is Commissioner Constantine's district. We'll go to the district commissioner.
Well, as much as I appreciate the fact that the current owner has continued to help put this into compliance, this is a piece of property that my office had been getting calls on for at least 3 years and has been a bone of contention in that entire neighborhood for quite a while. I do appreciate, like I said, that they have made attempts to abate the violations and put them back into code. But I still believe that we should have some sort of fine since this was 5 years. So my recommendation and my motion is going to be that we reduce the fine to the $2,500 as a fine and the administrative cost of $1,204.40, making it a grand total of $3,704.40, and that is my motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, like sign? Carries unanimous. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Martin.
Commissioner.
All right, we are going to work into our work sessions. Our next item is going to be the Code Enforcement Chapters 40, 95, 120, and 168 work session. Ms. Tricia Johnson and Mike Rhodes, our compliance coordinator, will give us a presentation. I would ask that we refrain from any questions until the presentation of each section. So after 40, we'll go to the board for any inquiries. Likewise, after 95, again, 120 and 168. I think that'll help us streamline that, if everybody's okay with that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. May I proceed?
Please.
Okay, thank you, Tricia Johnson, Deputy County Manager. And Mike, if you don't mind driving the remote, I'd appreciate it. So I know this commission has become very familiar with the opening slides of this presentation. I won't spend a lot of time on them, but of course our agenda, I'll cover a little background and key transition items. And then Mr. Rhodes will talk to you today about abatements, the proposed changes to various code sections, recommendations, and next steps. I do want to mention one thing for clarification. Today, we will not be talking about Chapter 40. It was our original intent to talk about 40. However, there are a number of items related to the building division that need to be updated that are not related to code enforcement. So we're going to give our building team some time to take a look at that, and then we will be bringing that chapter back to the board. There's only a few minor things related to code enforcement in Chapter 40. You know our background very well. We started this process in April 2024. And just a couple of highlights. In May of this year, the Commission adopted the International Property Maintenance Code. That was our first step into this journey of updating the code. And then in September of this year, the Commission adopted the Chapter 53 ordinance. Today, we are here to talk about Chapters 95, 120, 168, and changes to the administrative code. You can also see all the other action items that the team has taken on over the past year and moved through the process. And our new code enforcement team actually started yesterday, so we are fully staffed, and Mr. Martin is working to get them acclimated. I think he even had a couple out in the field yesterday, so hit the ground running for sure. Our next slide, we are, of course, in the process of our interim IT program setup. We will develop and deploy an easier-to-use public portal, which also your offices will certainly be able to use. Our ongoing internal case management process is being overhauled, and the new division officially launches on October 1st. And with that, I will turn it over to Mr. Rhodes.
All right. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, and good morning, Commissioners. We're going to go over a number of changes today. And again, Tricia mentioned that we're not talking about Chapter 40. The Chapter 40 stuff from our perspective in the code enforcement space is fairly minor, but again, just in the spirit of trying to kind of keep all the chapter stuff together, we opted to go ahead and hold off until the appropriate time. So we want to talk today about changes to the administrative code, Chapter 95, Chapter 120, and Chapter 168. And all of those chapters kind of circle around things that we abate and how we handle that process. And so that's what we're going to talk about primarily today. And the things we abate, and you know, especially kind of in light perhaps of the last reconsideration reduction case that you heard. Things that we abate include things like overgrown yards, rubbish, structural remains, junk cars, dilapidated houses, unsecure and unsafe pools. And you have elements in your code of all of those things and abatement processes for all of those things, but regrettably those things have by and large been having to come through you all through a sometimes inefficient process that, again, our intention today with some of these amendments that we're talking about is to make a little bit more efficient. The idea of abatements in the county code actually goes back quite some time. You all adopted in 1980, Chapter 168, which established procedures for abatements and the assessment of related costs. And in those days, things were a little bit simpler, and it probably made a lot of sense to have all of those abatements come through the Board of County Commissioners. But in 2017, the Board of County Commissioners actually adopted changes to Chapter 95 that in theory was going to have a lot of that abatement process go through your magistrate and your code enforcement board. Unfortunately, the execution hasn't quite been there, and so we are proposing changes today that, again, are going to hopefully realign that and make that move a little bit more quickly. Again, just reflecting on those changes and those code sections in Chapter 95 and Chapter 168, one of the other important things to talk about is, again, who you're putting that authority in the hands of. You know, you all you're the ultimate decision makers no matter what, but when you made those changes to Chapter 95, you actually authorized the Development Services Director to be able to execute those abatements when it was appropriate and execute those as an emergency matter. And so there were cases here and there of pools and other things that were being taken care of, but there were a lot of other cases as you all will recall, that we're still coming back before you and still taking, in my view anyway, an inordinate amount of time in order to get to a place where they could be resolved under your authority and decision-making. At the same time, even in Chapter 168, you contemplate emergency powers that would authorize you to take action to abate hazards within Seminole County. I want to take a quick detour and talk about the administrative code changes that we're proposing. And again, some of these changes are kind of lining us up and realigning us with changes that have previously been made to Chapter 95 and Chapter 53. The first ones deal with, again, clarifying that lien reductions and lien waivers are to be handled by the special magistrate and code enforcement board. And then and that's section 3.20 and 3.21. And then the other change I want to talk about briefly, and I know there'll probably be some discussion about it, is the fine reduction costs that you all have. You impose a $500 fee for an application to reduce a fine and an additional $200 in the event the county manager denies it and the property owner or the applicant wants to appeal it to the Board of County Commissioners. So you have a $700 barrier, and I'm going to call it that, and I understand that there's, again, some reasonable discussion to be had about that, but you have a pretty significant barrier, particularly for owner-occupied properties, and owner-occupied properties, homestead properties, are a pretty good number of your code enforcement cases overall. And so while I'm not suggesting that the county's costs shouldn't be recovered, what I will suggest to you is that the application fee, again, represents a barrier, and in the event the board or the magistrate decide to reduce those fines, they can recover some of those county costs as you currently do now, and in some respects as you did today in the case that you just heard. So my proposal to you is that you eliminate that fee. I understand there's going to be some discussion about that, and I completely understand it. So we'll leave it there and come back to it at the appropriate time. The changes that we're proposing to Chapter 95 involve, again, just kind of clean up stuff, deleting references to obsolete code, putting the county manager again in his role as the manager of the staff and designated code enforcement officers. It also goes to specifying the process for abatements for overgrown and trashy yards. And we set forth a process whereby we do that. We establish the notice provisions. We establish the time frame from correction, the opportunity for appeal of those decisions, and then finally the abatement and ultimately invoicing and liens and collection of the county's costs, recovering the cost for doing those abatements. Chapter 120 deals with, it's actually titled Junk and Junk Dealers. We're proposing, I think, to change the title of that to junk cars or junk vehicles. And we've had an opportunity to discuss it with you, but at the end of the day, you have a lot of junk cars around Seminole County, and we have a lot of cases involving junk cars, but we do not abate junk cars. And so the amendments that we're proposing to Chapter 120 would set forth a process, again, whereby we post notice on the junk cars. We give property owners, car owners, the opportunity to remove the junk cars or put them into an operable condition. And in the event they fail to do that, then we're proposing to go ahead and remove those junk cars through a towing contract, again, with the towing contractor recovering the cost from the property owner and or the vehicle owner in the event they want the vehicle back. But the more important thing is here, we feel it's important to get these cars out of here, get them abated, get them off the property. They represent a blighting influence. In a lot of cases, there's criminal activity associated with those junk vehicles that we don't need to get into the gory details on right now, but we want to have an opportunity and a mechanism whereby those things can be removed. Chapter 168 changes, again, we have some conforming amendments that kind of fit with Chapter 53 and Chapter 95. We kind of more clearly establish with the changes we're proposing in Chapter 168, we clearly established that the board and or the magistrate We'll handle the appeals for nuisance determinations. Technically, in a lot of cases, that has been before you all, and we just don't feel like that's a good use of your time, and it's not as timely as we think we would like for it to be. And then finally, and probably most importantly, we authorize the code enforcement manager to be responsible for abating those nuisance conditions. And so, you know, the line of authority is clear here, and the person that you want to look at when those abatements aren't getting done is going to be clear, and that's really the purpose behind those 168 changes. The recommendations and next steps, again, we know there's probably going to be some discussion on some of these items, and so we want to give you an opportunity to ask whatever questions you might have and have the appropriate discussion, and then bring back for you ordinances that we can, again, appropriately advertise, and then bring to the Board of County Commissioners, ideally on October 28th. We do have some additional work to do on the abatements. We need to get contracts in place to be able to handle securing property, mowing property, towing cars, and all those things. And so that's work that John has already undertaken and beginning to move forward on. We have our additional changes to Chapter 40 that we discussed, and again, we're looking forward to kind of getting division off to a running start October 1st. I can't tell you, I'm told, I haven't had a chance to look at it, but I'm told the website is kind of up and running and ready to take your complaints and your constituents' complaints. We don't have the sophisticated back-end database that we want yet, but that is underway with the contract with Excel that you all have authorized, and we hope to have that up and running in the spring, along with a lot of the other reporting capabilities that we know that you expect to come out of that process. So with that, I'll stop and take your questions.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Rhodes. Let's start with Chapter 95. Anybody have any inquiries from the board on 95?
Well, I don't have the numbers memorized,
Yeah,
so tell me which part that
That's gonna be,
compromises. Health, property maintenance,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, that's
There we
health,
go.
property maintenance, and sanitation.
So I think we ought to go ahead and have the conversation about the application for abatements. I think there's probably a sweet spot between nothing and $700. I don't know what that is, but I have had constituents that have been able to bring their property into compliance, not because of work that they have done, but because of work that volunteers have done, and then they don't have the money to apply. And then they're collecting money from church and neighbors and family members to try to cobble together the funds. So I think there's something to be said for there being some flexibility there if possible. I don't know legally how much flexibility there can be among applicants. The idea of a refund is lovely if you had the money to begin with, but if you don't have the money to pay, then it really doesn't matter if it can be refunded to you. So that I don't have a fixed thought on this other than I see very much the need to reduce it. I don't know if it should be zero. That's where I'm at right now.
Chairman?
Commissioner Herr.
I think we need to reverse engineer it. I don't want it to be zero for the folks that are coming in and doing battle over property that's not been brought up to code, and we've seen that over and over again. And at the same time, I don't want somebody to be harmed because they can't bring it in and then it rolls up to be a problem. So I think the reverse engineering is that the fee gets attached at the end of the hearing, and if the hearing is to clear the book and say, yes, it's brought up to code and there's no fee to be here, then that's great. If it was not, then there's a fee associated with the time spent for that event. So I don't want to start, my briefing, I was adamant about the fact that I don't want to be hiring magistrates for frivolous hearings because this will become an activity for some folks. And the only way to do that is to attach some skin in the game for the folks that are appearing. But I think if we reverse engineer it, we've accomplished the goal.
So I also am not a zero-sum proponent. What I would like to see, and I don't know if and I'll ask the county attorneys this question, if this is where such an idea should go as in the admin code or somewhere else, which is to the point that we have individuals that have fallen apart in hard times, where they've lost a spouse or they're incapable financially, maybe they've lost their job. I mean, the reality is we're not in the penalty business, but we do have a duty to make sure our communities are safe, kept clean, and so forth. I would like to see some kind of fee schedule that's reinvested into a fund that then could be used to help some of these people that have fallen upon hard times to mow their grass or do something to help them along, whether it's through a nonprofit that we would work with or some other vehicle would be what I would like to see. Again, we're not looking to penalize people unnecessarily, but we do have to get compliance. We're not in the business of taking their property and leaning it for 20 years like it's been in the past. And so if we really truly want to help the community, in my opinion, we should develop some kind of fund that's funded by the fees that would allow us to help those people that have fallen upon hard times or found themselves in a bad situation. That's my 2 cents worth as far as that goes. So I'm not sure where that would go, if it's admin code or somewhere else.
I would imagine it would go in the admin code. It can go in the code, it can go in the admin code. It would be a policy decision for the board, and I've already heard more than one good idea on how to structure a program like that. The legal limitation is that we don't want to impose a fee that's arbitrary or that gives staff any sort of discretion to charge one person one fee and another person another fee, but, a sliding scale based on income or the amount of the lien, I don't know.
Right.
There's a lot of different ways that we could structure it, so, I think it would be a good exercise for staff to brainstorm something and bring something back if that's the direction of the board.
Sure. No, I'm okay with that. Anything else? Commissioner Constantine?
Well, you're not wanting to bring another idea into it since we've already had 3. But I think that the reverse engineering has merit. I think that what you've said, Commissioner Zimbauer, has merit also. I do believe that there needs to be a minimum charge from the beginning, though. I don't think that we need to, we can evaluate it in the end. We can see how much of whatever needs to go to whatever, community trust, if you want to call it that, based upon the person's hardship. But I don't want it to become, and I think one of you said it, and I don't remember which, this become a game in which every single time, okay, let's see how we can play this out, and we'll just let it go on and on and on, and then we'll ask for a reduction in the end, and we don't have to pay for that, so we can just, do it. And I don't want to use what we just did today, because I think that they honestly tried to fix up the home, and I believe that the other gentleman, sir, you're the brother of the individual that originally owned the home, if I'm not mistaken. But, that took 5 years. And we need to make sure that we don't have a lingering, if you will, of not having to, come into compliance. So having an early fee, doing some sort of, it does sound like an exercise for the staff, but having a fee, doing some, reverse engineering, and also looking into the possibility of I'll call community trust. I think all of them are viable ideas that need to be considered.
Mr. Chairman?
Commissioner Delary.
Thank you. I would agree with all the statements that are made here today. There needs to be a minor fee for that applicant, so there is a little bit of skin in the game, and if it gets forgiven at the end or it gets repaid at the end, that's a totally different issue. And I think asking staff to bring us back some ideas are all sound ideas, and I'm looking forward to hearing what staff has to say when they bring it back.
Mr. Chairman, one last thing.
Commissioner
But I
Costain?
don't want to, I want to reiterate what a wonderful idea it is to get it off of this dais and into the hands of the staff. Nothing that I'm saying today, or hopefully anybody else is saying, wants us to have it unless it's absolutely necessary.
I think we all agree on that. So I do believe that we do need to recover the taxpayers' costs. We have that obligation to our taxpayers and our constituents to recover the fees that are being expended to go through the whole process. But likewise, and I think what Commissioner Constantine is saying is correct, we want to make sure everyone is treated equally under the law. And if that ends up being some sliding scale based on the ability or financial status, then I will look to the county attorneys to tell us what that is. So it sounds like, if there's no one else, looks like we've got pretty good direction.
The last thing that I would add, Chairman, is that thank goodness for the abatement process on junk cars. And
Yes.
I would only expect that to grow over time as we figure out there are other things we're not abating, because it's not just cars. So
That's
I
right.
did leave that open, the door open of, we need to be thinking about this on a grander scale.
Yeah, exactly. I want to take a moment and thank staff, thank our attorney's office. I know you all have been working very diligently and hard on this, and this has been a topic that many of us have struggled with for multiple years and for some time, so it's very nice to know that you guys have got us to a place where we're headed in the right direction. And I would suspect that we may have to revisit some of this in a year or two if we see some speed bumps or some issues, and we'll deal with it, as those come up. So thank you all very much for bringing this to us and spending the time that was necessary. And welcome all the new staff in code enforcement. We hope that you find Seminole County a great place to have employment. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Did we cover all the things that they gave feedback on?
I think so.
I think that's the only thing we really have a concern about.
Just making sure. The precursor was like, we know you guys are going to have to talk this through, and that just seemed to go too smoothly.
Well, it sounds like we all had good briefings.
Keep it moving.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks.
And you all do believe you got direction, correct?
Yes. Problems today, I hope.
Great.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we are going to hear for the State of Animal Services, Mr. Alan Harris. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. For the record, Alan Harris, Director of Emergency Management today. Real excited to talk to you about the Animal Services Division. Brought some lovely people with me today. I'd like to introduce Chris Stronko, our new division manager, has already done some amazing things at Animal Services. Bree Burkett, our shelter manager, she'll be talking to you a little bit about some shelter operations today. Lauren Watts, our field services manager, which oversees the animal control portion of Seminole County Animal Services. And I also have Albert Adams with us. He does our special projects. He's a manager of our special projects. So all the exciting things that you see on social media and SGTV and things like that, most all of it he is managing and coordinating. Today we're going to go over some of the items that we have here at Animal Services: adoptions, volunteerism, our partnerships that we have, animal control field operations, and other various programs. At the very end, I'm going to come back up and talk about some future opportunities, also some capital improvement plans that we have over the next 3 to 5 years. I'm super excited about, look at that smile. We were the first department, so I'm excited about that. And thanks to Joe and his team at IT for doing that. But we were the first public-facing dashboard. I know here in Seminole County we believe in transparency. We're so transparent, I won't continue that because I know what we said about transparency the last time, but we're very transparent at Animal Services. We do have clothes on, but we are are transparent. So you can log on to our website, get all types of statistics. You can click on those statistics and even get more data. So this is one of our hottest hit web pages other than adopting cats and dogs, which is really cool. It's really been wonderful for our residents to see what's going on in a snapshot at Animal Services. We wouldn't be able to do what we do without our wonderful partners. I can't call out all of them. We have public and private partners, certainly our residents as our partners as well, but I do want to call out a couple if I can. Tiers up in the upper right-hand corner. Tiers is like our friends at the library. So they do a lot of services for us, specialized medication, specialized surgeries in some cases. There are outreach to Petco and those types of facilities, so they actually manage the cats that are in those locations, so they do a lot of great work for us. Underneath them, Pet Alliance, of course, we all know Pet Alliance. They're across the street from us. They pull a lot of animals from us. They are a wonderful resource for us. They've helped us in the past when we didn't have a vet and doing some of our spays and neuters, which has been wonderful. And then I know it's very odd for private. You would, of course, notice the Chewy and the Petco and the PetSmart and things like that, but Stanley Steamer, what is Stanley Steamer in there for? Stanley Steamer provides a lot of funding for our Paws and Claws, which you're going to hear about in a little bit. They also do our Pet of the Week on TV, so they fund that for us. And those pets, of course, get a lot of notoriety, a lot of TV viewing, and many of those get adopted. So we certainly thank Stanley Steamer. Our shelter operations, of course, is 24-hour, 7-day-a-week operation, holidays, weekends. All dogs and cats and ferrets and rabbits and pigs and all the other animals that we get, birds, are fed twice a day, cleaned their crates, their cages, their runs. We have a new dog enrichment program, which has been really helpful in helping us adopt animals, called Dogs Playing for Life, where dogs are put into play groups and they go out and they interact with each other, which is very helpful when you're trying to adopt a dog and there's other dogs in that individual's home. We can say, yes, this dog interacts very well and also socializes the animal and also calms them down in the shelter. If you can imagine, some of our occupants have been with us for months and months, and being in a run without that kind of stimulation can be quite challenging. And I turn it over to Mr. Stronko.
Hello, everybody.
Morning.
Special events. We're averaging 14 special events a month, which is a significant increase from last year. They range from everything from our monthly vaccine clinics to our signature event being Paws and Claws in December, and our public safety event in February are two signature events. Oh boy. The right button, sorry. Our veterinary operations range from everything from spay and neuter all the way to forensic reports for animal cruelty investigations. Just a note, those are definitely on the increase right now through our law enforcement partners. We treat sick animals, rabies vaccinations, and even offer end-of-life services to the general public. Finally, that brings me to our TNVR program. Started in 2022. It has created a significant decrease in the feral cat population in Seminole County and continues to decrease that. All the facets of it, as you can see on the screen, but another interesting note, we've started a barn cat warehouse cat type program, which kind of fills a gap between TNVR and adoptable cats. So if anybody has a barn or a warehouse that needs a cat to control the situation, please let us know. I'll turn it over.
And of course, one of our main goals at the shelter is, of course, adoptions. We have strived to be a no-kill shelter since 2016, not having to euthanize for space, breed, capacity, or length of stay. We strive to find placement for them through our pathway planning. So those are animals that come in over the counter as owner surrenders, strays, protective custody cases, whether they have an owner in the hospital or unfortunately incarcerated, they do come in that way as well. So we have meetings where we plan their outcomes, whether we seek rescues, their adoption candidates, things of that nature. as well as our special programs. We have quite a few programs for our senior citizens, where senior citizens in the community can adopt senior animals 6 years and older for a heavily discounted fee, as well as Pets for Patriots, where we strive to find animals for veterans, and we work with another organization where they have quite a few benefits, whether it's discounted veterinary fees, medications, things of that nature. Excuse me. We also have service animals, where upon request we can help place service animals with new owners, as well as trying to find excuse me, as well as trying to find trainers to help train them for service animal needs. And of course, our partnerships with rescues such as Tears, Pet Alliance, they help find us placement with those animals. Volunteer management, we have a great volunteer program which we are constantly growing. These are volunteers that can help in and out of the shelter, whether it's specifically with animals or just off-site stuff such as foster homes. We rely greatly upon our foster homes, so we are always looking for new ones if anyone is interested. We also have our Bright Futures program, where high school students age 16 and 18 can foster animals in their homes with their parental consent, where they gain 100 community service hours for them. And of course, donations. Donations is a huge part of our shelter. We greatly appreciate and use them for quite a few things. We get gently used items or new items from community members, where we place them back out into our boutique, where we can get monetary donations that help fund quite a few projects at the shelter, which is our free roam catio area, which is a huge project we've done. Cats have great space outside where they can get some fresh air, our livestock barn, and of course dog enrichment equipment, as well as our adoption trailer, which has made off-site adoptions much easier. Our dog play yards, where we've gained more shelters, play equipment, meet and greet yards, where we've gotten AstroTurf and great seating areas for customers. And of course, those donations help to fund specialized surgeries and medical equipment such as our x-ray machine. I'll pass this over to Lauren.
Good morning.
Morning.
So when it comes to field services, as you can see, not all of Chapter 20 is listed up there. But ordinances such as our anti-hoarding ordinance, our puppy mill ordinance, and our aggressive dog ordinance are extremely instrumental in keeping our public safe, and animal welfare are a priority. I speak for Animal Services when I say thank you to the commissioners for passing those in particular. We also have our standards of care ordinance, which we inspect commercial type boarding facilities to make sure they meet the county guidelines. That ordinance also includes the citizens who are over the animal limit here in Seminole County. And then we have our animal cruelty and bite investigations as well. Field services, as a brief description, we're a 24/7 operation. We handle about 1,300 to 1,400 calls for service in a month, and we do that with about 8 animal control officers. Those calls for service can be a variety of things, from stray domestic animals to lost livestock or exotics, sick or injured wildlife, and then obviously our criminal investigations that we work in partnership with law enforcement. Back down.
Aren't they lovely?
Yes.
I am blessed. I am really blessed with the leadership team over at Animal Services. So in field operations, of course, we always respond to injured animals. That is a priority call for us. And your offices often get calls for deceased animals. So I want to talk a little bit about deceased animals now, because those do come in. For protected animals that are deceased on roadways and things like that, that is the jurisdiction of the Florida Wildlife Commission. So unless there's a reason that the Florida Wildlife Commission contacts us and says we can't make it, please go help that, then that's the only time that we would respond to a deceased bear, bald eagle, things like that. Of course, again, injured animals, I think we've responded to just about every one of your houses for an injured animal, as well as most houses in Seminole County. So it happens all the time, unfortunately. Somewhere in our neighborhoods, we find an animal, right, that is injured. For deceased domestic animals, we go out and, of course, pick up any cat, dog. We scan it for a microchip, and then we make notification, next of kin, if you will, notification to the family if we find an animal that is deceased, that's a domestic animal. Deceased livestock, equine, and those types, llamas, other types of exotic type animals, yes, we have those here in Seminole County. We work with the Seminole County Sheriff's Office Range and Water to collect those animals, and then work with our solid waste department, landfill, as well as the owner of those particular equine livestock, et cetera. For deceased medium and large animals, we do respond to those. Those are bears, panthers, coyotes, boars, things like that, to pick them up. One staff recommendation is a change, and that is for smaller animals. We get calls about dead squirrels often, to pick them up on roadways, and we do respond to that. Our recommendation is that we stop doing that and explain how they can get rid of those themselves. So that is a change that is a recommendation. It takes a lot to respond to a dead squirrel or a dead rat or a dead duck, and if you can imagine, of course, with 500,000 plus people now conversing Seminole County on a given day, there are a lot of squirrels that run in front of cars that we have to pick up. We've been looking at, of course, capital improvement for a while. This is our 1 to 5 year capital improvement project. We wanted to put this, of course, on your radar. Our shelter operates at 130% capacity. I think there's no surprise there. I think you all know that occurs regularly. It's also on our dashboard that I just showed you. We are in need of some renovations of surgical equipment at around about $100K on our capital improvement plan. So that's about 2 to 3 years out. Some of these have been deferred a couple times. So, but in about the next 2 to 3 years, we would be looking at that. Another item is kennel gates. So we are looking to replace all of our kennel gates. Those are the run gates that are in our facility, as you can imagine. After years of water and cleaning solutions and things like that, those start to get hard to move, and the locking mechanisms start to mess up. Our building doors, jams, all those also are in need of replacement. The last time that we did a full or any really large refurbishment of the shelter was February of 2007 when we had our fire. So it's been a while. Some of these things need to be updated. Our behavioral areas need to be upgraded as well. They are old. Over time, with rain and sun and being beat down for so long, those are in need of replacement. Our fences and gates have also not been replaced in a long time. To replace all of those, and I had to phone a friend, so Chad with facilities helped me out. Thank you, Chad. That's at about $203,000 to replace all the fence and gates and make those right around the shelter. We do not have HVAC, so you know that we put temporary HVAC up for our animal shelter. That's, of course, for the dogs and cats, as well as the employees that have to work in those facilities every day. The fans and the air movement inside of there, other than the HVAC system, also needs to be replaced. We're going to call it building envelope, although the renovation of the roofing area is something that needs to be done. Our entire painting of our campus needs to be done, as well as the update of our adoption and administrative building also has to be updated.
And if I could just chime in on here, because I told Alan, I was like, I don't want to miss this opportunity when you discuss this.
We talked last night.
Yes. So people, I know you all understand this, but animal services is part of our public safety program. And so that is something that we're really focusing on, that we will be focusing on a lot over this next year. What I've asked Alan and his team to do is start working on a 5-year capital plan for, okay, we know there's a lot of needs in animal services. I asked him to do that's why I wanted to do this presentation. We wanted actually to do it over the summer during the budget work sessions, just didn't work out. So I wanted to ensure, and just so you all have the confidence, is that we are looking at this, and I want to look, okay, where are we at right now as the state of animal services? Where are we going to go in the future? As he had mentioned, the shelter operates at an overcapacity of 130%. We actually use another boarding facility because we do not, want to put animals down. So that is a cost that it continues to rise in our budget. We have shown you a lot of the issues over the last couple of months during our budget work sessions that are increasing the cost over inflation. I know a lot of people like to talk about inflation. These are costs that are continuing to hit us. So we're going to have a couple more sessions with the board over the next 6 months on how we're going to get animal services where they need to be over the next couple of years. And that, at the end of October, I'll be coming back to you with a work session on the fourth generation sales tax other than transportation. We're working on a mobility plan now, the 2050 mobility plan. That will be coming to you in the spring. However, there are projects that I need to bring to you that were discussed and on our list for the fourth gen sales tax that I need direction on from the board. Animal services is on there as well. So we are working on this. I wanted Alan just to show you that we are looking at it, but we are actually putting a plan that will it happen tomorrow? No, but it will happen over the next 3 to 5 years.
Got it. Yeah, my inquiry was, it was interesting how you couched this as future opportunities. It looks like to me that it's future needs, and it sounds like it's more immediate than it is future, especially some of those items.
Past.
But, and so I'm glad we're hearing this, but I would have liked to honestly heard this before we got into our budget season. We all cherish our animals, and for the life of me, I don't know why we could not have air conditioning for not only the volunteers and workers, but the pets themselves, knowing how hot it gets here in the winter or summer. So that's my 2 cents worth on that. I'll start with Commissioner Herr and work our way down. Commissioner?
I can't believe anybody calls you to pick a squirrel up off the road. Then what would the middle schoolers put in the mailboxes?
Well, thank you.
I may or may not have known that to have happened in my neighborhood by kids that I may or may not know. I don't know what the right answer here is. Something that takes a very long time to be absorbed by nature is probably needs to be picked up. A squirrel does not need to be picked up. That's gone in 2 days. Nature planned for that. I do think one of my pet peeves is I think there's got to be a better way to deal with the situation that I faced with the deer in the yard that was critically injured. We knew we had to put it down, but animal control had to come out, look at it, and then call the sheriff to come out, and there ought to be an electronic way to do that. Like, can I take a picture of the deer's bones sticking out of its body, send it to you, and then just dispatch the sheriff? So that process, I think there's an opportunity there. I would ask the question that doesn't have to be answered today, is I thought you were very gracious in giving us credit for the ordinances, but I can't imagine that we nailed it. I bet you there's opportunity for improvement. She is doing a really good job at trying to keep a poker face, but you're as good at it as I am, so there's clearly opportunity there. We need to know about that, because we just think it's all wonderful if we're not hearing, and I suspect, given the comment that there's issues that are cropping up and it's growing in terms of animal abuse and neglect, we maybe need to be looking at that again. So please feel free to bring that back.
Okay.
With regard to future opportunities, I think you did mention this during the budget session, just not as detailed as maybe, but we need to figure out how to get this in play. And what's the order of operation? We can't have employees in those conditions. We all know that. And now is the time to address these things. We need to get the plan, build it, and actually follow it, and not kick the can down the road on renovations for I think the number was 24 years, but I did math.
Commissioner Glory.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Alan, I've said this many times, you and your staff and the people below your staff do a phenomenal job. We hear about it on a regular basis, so you have a lot to be complimented about. You said that you're blessed, the community's blessed to have the people that work for you all, that take care of these animals on a day-to-day basis. We've all been in your facilities, and yes, things do need to happen, things need to change. I know the county manager talked about a CIP. I look at that as a master plan with a CIP. And hopefully we can see that come forward. And I do remember that one night in February, 18 years ago. That was horrific. And not just your staff, but the firefighters did a phenomenal job at that point. And there was a couple of animals that were lost, unfortunately. And that's the reason why I think it's important for us not just to have a CIP, but a true master plan. I'd also like to see a heat map of where your services are, so we can better understand that. And I look forward to actually doing something and making some changes, not just in the physical capital side, but in the code side. If there's changes that need to be done administratively on our side, please let us know. We rely on you and your staff a lot, and so does the citizens, and more importantly, the animals do. So thank you, Alan, for all your help and guidance.
Thank you. Commissioner Constantine.
Thank you. Congratulations again. Phenomenal changes over the years. I mean, I remember when we first came here and I said, so where's our puppy mill ordinance? And we didn't have one. And so you all have made a great deal of strides in the last number of years, and I'm very impressed. I didn't read even a word in here, but I get it all the time. Maybe it's because it's in urban areas now, but you have any comments on the proliferation of coyotes?
Yeah, we actually just did a educational campaign related to that, because we did have some sightings, as well as we had a few individuals that reported loss of life of their pet because of coyotes. So we did educational posts. It's really under the jurisdiction of the Florida Wildlife Commission, but working with the Florida Wildlife Commission, we provided some education. I want to thank the Office of Communications. I'm not sure if they're here right now, but for doing that, we've been producing some public outreach, public safety messages for individuals, as well as those particular areas. We've encouraged yard signs and things like that to better educate the neighborhoods.
And I've seen those yard signs.
Yeah.
in very densely populated areas.
Yes.
So I guess my question is that the strategy? Is there other strategies that we can use to maybe reduce
the Florida Wildlife Commission strategy is, they call it harassment, but to scare the coyotes away. Most of the coyotes will run from you. We already do the bear trash cans in many places, so we're already doing that particular education. Food that is left outside, of course, is an attraction. Food that's left out for community cats and things like that, we're encouraging community cat folks that you need to bring that food in at night, because otherwise you're encouraging the coyotes to come towards the community cat colonies. So those are things that people need to think about. You don't want food outside that encourages them to come. All of this, of course, is included in the FWC website. FWC also has a map, and you can actually pull up Seminole County and see where the sightings have been and where the attacks have been. So it's quite something. If you want to take a look at that map, it's very educational.
And anybody that has like an empty lot like I do next to me that doesn't get mowed all the time, and also has a certain individual that likes to feed stray cats near there. I was sitting on my deck, just to give an example, the other day, and there was a coyote that just walked by the sand beach, and looked at me, kind of smiled, did her business, and then just jumped over the fence. And so, you know, they are, I was like shocked to see one, but that's...
You don't think she was giving you a message?
That's because y'all got city coyotes. We don't have that problem out
Yeah, we got city coyotes, that's right.
We have them in
City
packs.
coyotes. Okay, this is going to be a strange question, but it's done in sincerity. Since our urban chicken program has been so popular, have we ever had chickens brought for adoption or brought to be left?
We occasionally get chickens, but not often. Not often at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do we do with them other than, you know, make fried chicken or something? I'm sorry, I love fried chicken.
Lee's famous fried chicken.
So we have gotten, since I was asked in 2016 to help manage animal services, I think I've seen just about every animal come through. Large turtles, rabbits. Unfortunately, Tricia gets a picture of the crazy ones every time we get one in, because I just want her to know it's there. But we get goats. Darren gets a lot of pictures too, sorry. Everything. So yes, we do get chickens from time to time. Most of those we can adopt out.
There you go.
Ferrets, though, pocket pets, hermit crabs, we get everything.
Thank you. Very interesting.
Commissioner Lockhart?
Picking up on the coyote conversation, as someone who lost a cat to a coyote, I will tell you the coyotes aren't looking for the food, they're looking for the cats that are eating the food.
Right.
It requires people behavior change, and quite honestly, not letting your cats be out at night, which a lot of people do. It's kind of like if there's an attractant there, they will find them. I live between I-4 and the 417, which is a pretty urban core of our community, and we have a bunch of coyotes in our neighborhood. And people post in the neighborhood Facebook group, my cat is missing, and you know, the hard-hearted Harriets of the group will say, well, it probably got a coyote, right? And so don't be looking for it. The coyotes probably got it. Unfortunately, that's just kind of become the norm. But yeah, FWC has done some wonderful work. I want to thank you and your team for sticking out with us the last year or so prior to new management. I know we had a blip, and it was tough on everybody, and so thank you to everyone who endured through that time. I think we're in a much, much better place, and I'm grateful for the leadership of the county manager and the rest of your team for being able to see through what we needed to see through there. I'm very, very grateful. I think that from an ordinance perspective, where I think we may have opportunity, and I will rely on you all to tell me if it is or not, is to with the hoarding and the poor treatment of animals, maybe we are allowing too many strikes. You know, instead of a 3 strikes, you're out, and I don't know how many it is, it's a lot more than 3. Maybe within the bounds of the Florida law, if we can tighten that up a little bit so that neighbors aren't enduring all of the odors and the barking and the negative impacts of people who just are not good animal owners. If we can tighten that up, I think that's something I would love to look at. As far as the capital needs, you know, it's funny. I stopped looking at social media not long ago for a variety of reasons, but one is because I just get so frustrated reading all of the comments that are completely examples of ignorance of the process and things that we provide in local government. And so, but I still have friends who feel like I need to see these things, so they screenshot them and send them to me. And because if I see it, I'm going to want to respond, and then I shouldn't, and it becomes a situation. So I try to not to respond. But one of the comments was, and I think it was actually based on, it was because of the clerk's open checkbook, that people were seeing the expenditures for things like a veterinarian, and why in the world were the taxpayers paying for a veterinarian? This is why we pay for a veterinarian. And without context, of course, expenses are sometimes misinterpreted for sure. So the nice thing about animal services is people have a heart for animals. And we could get people to donate out of their, as we know, because you have so many partners already, for some of these things where, it's hard to get people to donate to the jail, right? The jail has all of these same kinds of needs with doors and equipment and what have you, but no one really has that much of a heart to help donate to the jail. I think if we were to talk about a matching grant program of some sort, or something where we could encourage folks and businesses in the community to help sponsor some of these things, put their naming rights opportunities. We have that in our code already, that availability. That might be an opportunity to help take some of the burden directly from our coffers. Excellent job.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with the chairman. Don't wait to tell us. And I'm thrilled that the 3 to 5 year plan is great, but we have deferred maintenance for your operation and others in this community for many years. And partially because we have been such an incredibly conservative board, we have said year after year, unless it is absolutely necessary for the operation of the primary function of local government, we're not spending it. And that's where we are right now with the place of needing to, we're beyond the tipping point for your organization for sure. So thank you for painting the whole picture for us.
Yeah, and if I could just comment on your veterinarian, I saw similar messaging, and we are by statute required to adopt animals that are spayed and neutered. So if we don't do it ourselves, then we have to go get a vet to do it. I don't know if anyone's been to the vet recently, but our vet is much cheaper than going to a commercial vet if we were to do that for all 250 plus animals we currently have in the shelter. So the amount of savings, that's what we should be talking about, not the cost of a vet. We should be talking about the savings that we have by not going to the private vet and paying an exorbitant cost for that.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you.
I'm not going to echo and mirror what's already been said. Good work. You all are doing tremendous work, obviously, with very little. And I think what you're hearing from this board, it is important to us that these things be funded and properly funded, and we need to do that sooner rather than later, in my opinion. There's certainly been opportunities that maybe have passed us up, that we've funded other things that maybe this should have been a little bit ahead of the game on this. As far as picking up dead animals, I'm no proponent of picking up dead animals unless they're causing a hazard to the traveling public. Like I think Commissioner Herr indicated, it is the cycle of life. The turkey buzzards, which were at one time endangered, they feed on these carcasses on the side of the road. So as far as extended cost to go around and pick up all these animals, unless it's a farm animal or a horse or a cow that's laying in the middle of the intersection. I mean, my district, any given day, you can drive around and see half a dozen dead deer on the side of the road, or raccoons, or what. I mean, it happens. And typically in 24, 48 hours, there's not much left. You'll see the buzzards on them for, a period of time, and then we go on. And I realize that sometimes is difficult for those that don't live in the rural area, may not want to see that. So I think how we strike a happy medium there, but my belief is if it's not causing a public safety hazard, I don't see any reason why we should go out and have to remove that. So anyway.
Mr. Chairman?
Anything else? Yes,
Yeah.
Commissioner Lockhart.
I think you pointed out a very important nuance, is that a dead deer on the side of the road in Geneva in the grass where there are no sidewalks is very different than a dead deer on the side of Markham Woods Road where children are walking to Heathrow Elementary School.
Sure.
And so there may be, some need for flexibility there. I did have a question about the 30 pounds. Do you want to... Are we talking raccoons, possums, armadillos? Like, is that 30 pounds?
Yes.
Okay. I'm like, how much does a raccoon weigh? I don't know.
So-
there are skinny ones, there are fat ones.
Anything under like a raccoon, a possum, armadillo, duck, than squirrel is what we're talking about
Okay.
mostly.
All right.
Deers, of course, we're going to go pick up a deer. It's large. It's boars, bobcats. Those are all above 30.
Okay.
Any domestic animal, it doesn't matter what the size is, we're going to go pick it up.
Okay.
And any livestock or equine, we're going to go pick it up.
Okay,
We're
fantastic.
going to locate the owner too, so they
Yeah.
know that it's there.
All right, awesome. Thank you for that
Yeah,
clarification.
my district has trouble sometimes keeping cows and horses contained.
And emus.
Yeah. Did we ever find the emu?
We did find the emu. He's back. She is back with her family.
Because I saw a news feed.
There is a Facebook page if you'd like to follow her.
Because I got a news feed that somebody saw an emu running wild in like South Carolina. I'm like, did it make it that far? Wow, very good. Anything else for Animal Services? Well, good work. We sincerely appreciate it. Thank you all very much. Anything else, Mr. County Manager, before we adjourn to the afternoon session?
No, sir. Well, just one thing, that we do have scout vehicles out in the parking lot, so those of you who did not get to see those and go inside and, just peruse through it, they're out here for us. They'll be leaving right after lunch, so if you have an opportunity, and for the public, they're out in the parking lot.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll be adjourned till 1:30. Thank you.